So when a customer walks to my desk and doesn't have documentation, so there are two options to do it.
But the moment you get into the system, you find it easy.
We come from the same background where we're afraid of loans. Most of us Kenyans, you ask your parents, you're like, hey, what's your HQ loan?
Sometimes when you meet the so-called successful people, I say that because you don't know their story. We're coming to Collins and I want to ask you about people who want to maybe seek a loan without proper documentation. And I know we have touched a bit on it and wanted to know what do you advise them to do so that when they come back, you'll be able to help them.
So when a customer walks to my desk and doesn't have documentation, so there are two options to do it. The first one is to build up his documentation. So building up a documentation becomes easy in this era where probably you have some bits and pieces of where he bought his goods and the like. So you then try to use a week's business cycle and use that, take that as a monthly average. Yeah? So you can build up the story around that. So if I use Lucy's, because there's already information in the market, so there's a general, for example, in Lucy's industry, you know a bell is between 5,000 to 12,000. So you can't tell me you bought a bell at 20,000, and then you can't tell me you bought a bell at 3,000. It doesn't look ordinary. And then we also, for example, in Lucy's industry, we know there are people who buy camera and they sell one bell a day, some sell 2 bells a day. So depending on what you're selling, try to reconstruct your story on the basis of what the little knowledge we have about that industry. So that is one way of helping that customer. And if it's in a known, it's something within a known operation. And if it's not known, then we'll ask him to probably build records for a month and then look at how consistent those records look at. So say, we are almost coming into the month of July, from 1st of July to 31st of July, build records, let's have a look at that. So on the basis of those documents, then make a decision out of that. So that is just a simple way of supporting a client who walks in for financing and they don't have paperwork.
And those records, does it include even how much you spend on eating lunch?
So
how much detail do you need?
Of course, we need as much detail as possible. And where you don't give me details, I take assumptions. So if you give me financial and then you don't show me that you're having lunch. So for example, I'll ask you a question. So where do you get your lunch from? They tell me, I won't ask you directly. I'll ask you, do you carry lunch from home? Then you tell me no. So I automatically then give myself a number and say in Gikomba, an average lunch is 200 shillings. So, and that's why I keep saying, when you don't give me your records, I use my assumptions to then fill in. If you tell me you look at your records, you've not indicated your miscellaneous running expense, I'll probably then ask you, where do you stay? I stay in Kawangware, but you're operating from Gikomba. Fare from Kawangware to Gikomba is 100 shillings, so return is 200 shillings. So I quickly fill in the gaps. So I may not tell you how I fill all the gaps, but again, based on experience of industry, we then come in to fill the gaps. So it's either you give me the information or I pick assumptions from previous experience. So there's Alan in Gikomba, there's Lucy in Gikomba. Lucy has given me her very elaborate records. Alan has not. I might pick from the lessons I learned working with Lucy to then make assumptions around Alan's business.
I see. And the filling of the gaps, is it the one determined how long I'll have to wait before I get that loan?
Yes, if I have to extract information, obviously it takes longer than, it's like going to hospital. If you go to hospital and you just say, I've been cut here and it needs a bandage, it will be very easy to just put a bandage and move on. But if you go and then you have to go through an x-ray, you have to wait for the x-ray results to come. Similar. So if you come with all the information, it becomes very easy and quick to make your decision. If I have to extract information, it will take you slightly longer. And then if that information is not filling in, then that's when I'll tell you, hey, John, I will not give you money.
You know, most of the time when you call, you're told, oh, it hasn't been approved by the manager. You don't get that feedback, and you're told that this is what is, there's something missing, or maybe you need to work on this. It's usually, we're waiting for something to be approved. We're waiting for it. I don't know why is there no like that clear communication what you have.
This is where I'll confess there are two sides of the game. So the one side of it is just incompetence of the person you're sitting with. So if you come to my branch and the person serving that desk is not a good employee, he will not do the right thing, and the only way he can cover up for his poor service is to cheat you that somebody else has not done something when he is the one who's not done something. So if I'll give an example, within Stanbic we say when Lucy walks in on day 1, by 3 days we need to have either given her the money or told her we can't give you the money. And I'm sure Lucy might come and say, it took me 2 weeks. Now, this gentleman who's handling Lucy's application, Lucy does not know that within the bank it has to, where the corners that application is taking. So this person will take advantage of his position of trust to lie to Lucy that the manager has not approved the application. When, on most occasions, we find that application sitting at that person's desk. So what, for example, Stanbic has done is all loan applications are processed through an online system. So if Lucy comes and says she has a loan that she delivered to the bank she has a loan application delivered to the bank on Monday, and by Tuesday it's not on the loan system, I know there's a problem at the branch where she delivered the instruction, because the expectation is by day 2 of receiving that loan application form, it has to be fed on the online system. And that online system, anybody in the bank with access to that system can see it and can see the journeys it's taking. So if this person is telling you, I don't know who somebody, everybody knows. If today MMS Advocates applies for a loan, if they brought the instructions on Monday, on Tuesday morning, I should be able to log into the loan application system and see it's Collins who's running with this application. This is where he is. If Collins moves that application to somebody else, I can still see, and the system tracks every activity. So if, say, Alan is the loan officer handling this application, he only put the application and did nothing, it will tell me that on Tuesday at 8 a.m., Alan only opened it and then closed it and did 0. So it is a very seamless, clear tool that we can see.
That's nice.
Should be a way of them marketing. I think those are things you should put in black and white when you walk in. Know that your loan should take 3 days. Otherwise, many people take advantage. And sometimes when you're not able to do exactly when somebody tells you, there's this manager who was supposed to sign, it has to go through the credit officer, through board. We are lucky, maybe we have known that when he's walking in, he'll know 3 days I need my loan or not, But I think I would agree that most of the time is people like hiding behind the system. Systems may be there, managers may be thinking systems are working, but I think a lot of checks and balance need to be done, because not one bank, not two banks, you walk in and you're told within 48 hours. As much as he will tell us that they can build up your records. It's not that easy. That we can agree. It's not that easy. And where we are as a country or as Kenyans, it's not easy to even trust. It's not that easy to trust, because I believe getting around you, it's trust. Especially when you're talking of an SME, somebody who does not have a piece of land that they can secure that loan. It's not that easy. Unsecured loan is not that easy. But the moment you get into the system, you find it easy anytime. I personally, there are many things that I have taken advantage of which I didn't know they existed then. But right now, I know my rights. I know what I ask for. I know how to fight for what I want. I know how we can customize what I want. Yeah. But before you get into the system, that is where the biggest I would call it, that's where you find it hard. Yeah. Once you're in it, probably if I call Collins today and I want a loan, as much as I may not be working with him, I can get. Because I know my rights.
Not she can, she will.
Yeah, because I know what to give.
Yeah. So
I know what document to give. Probably by tomorrow morning he can have everything on his desk. And by Friday I can walk out with my money. Question is, am I trustworthy that when I get this money, I will repay back? Have I created a business that can actually support that? So, where we start is where the issue is.
I'll probably summarize that, call it the power of data.
Yeah.
So what Stanbic Bank has done with data is every customer who has an account with Stanbic is, we look at the conduct and behavior of the account. And right now, for those who have an account with Stanbic, if you go to our mobile banking, if you have your mobile banking, you do *208#, choose option 6, you'll see how much loan you can qualify for. And the bank is putting that information there because we've looked at how you are running your account. It might not be accurate, but it's to a great extent. We've looked at your CRB, it's good. And if you look at also the CRB, it has a score, a rating that you have. So if you then take that CRB rating, then look at how you've used the account. And it's not about what is the loan balance, what is the current account balance. Because for Lucy, when money sits in that account for 2 days, it means she's not doing good business. It is about that account sleeping at zero balance every day, then she's doing good business. So looking at that behavior of that account, I can give Lucy up to 3 million on an unsecured basis. Walk in, take the money and move. It's not as well covered, but as I say, power of information. So we have the data with us, we can rely on that data. If she needs more money, then I'll ask her for a little more documents. Not her grandmother's birth certificate, but just a little bit more information for us to ascertain that whatever she wants to use the money is good. And I always say this, the bank does not know your business. It is you who know your business, so the bank is only relying on the information you've given. So Alan will tell you, probably if I commit murder, I'll come and tell Alan, you know what, I killed Lucy. But please don't go and say I killed Lucy. I don't want to go to committee. Yeah. So even as Alan sits in the court to defend me, at the back of his head he knows this guy is he did it. Yeah. Because his profession allows him to do that.
Yeah.
But for me, my profession doesn't allow me to do that. My profession requires me to put the real truth and nothing but the truth. Because if I don't put the truth, Lucy will not pay that loan.
Alan, and you said you took a loan to open a branch in Mombasa. How was that experience? Did it take longer than you thought, or it was quick?
So the experience was good. It was a growth kind of experience. We come from the same background where we're afraid of loans. Most of us Kenyans, you ask your parents, you're like, oh, it's your HQ loan. And you're a business. At some level, what your friends, family, and people close to you can give you may not be enough for what your business requires. So the process was very good. Kudos to Stanbic. The whole thing was automated, like you said. We had a quick chat with the relationship manager. He told us how to go about the application, and in a few days we had our limit marked. I think it was within 48 hours or so.
48 hours.
Yeah, it was a 45-day sort of facility, but it gave us the time we needed to set up and have a breather to get our invoices paid. Because, like he says, data is good for the bank. Our invoices, our credit period with our clients is mostly either immediate up to 45, 90 days maximum. So with 45 days, then you already know you can pay it back. So that helped us to set up Mombasa, and Mombasa now stands on its own, and we're happy. We continue to do more business with the bank. We continue to do more business with our clients.
Would you say you're in the system like Lucy?
I don't know how deep in the system she is. She sounds like she could walk in and walk out with a lot more than I can.
She makes a phone call.
I'm more informed about my financial options. I'm more prepared to seek them and to get them and to service them.
Coming back to Collins, I think the other time we were talking and I told you sometimes when you meet the so-called successful people, I say that because you don't know their story. And when I say I want to be like you, he says don't be like me because I have like a loan of 100 million, and I'm wondering how does a person get a loan of 1 million? I mean 100 million. Like how? Like can you like maybe in a kind of a story where how does somebody get from lending maybe 10,000 to 100 million, like, and then how long maybe typically does it take? I'm sure since 2000 so many people have passed through your system.
How long does it take? I'll say the internal rules say within 2 weeks I should have made a decision for. So there are those loans, the smaller ones that we need to have done it within 48 hours. And for the bigger loans, the rules are maximum for 2 weeks. But I go back to say one thing. It's about how much information you've put together. Lucy has just said that right now if she goes to a bank, she knows all the questions the bank will ask. She'll put all that information in one file and walk in and get the money immediately. Those are the kind of customers we love. Customers who know what they require and then come and give you all the documents. But to get into the real gist is, how does somebody get a loan of 100 million? It's because they have a consistent story. So you are able to tell me what you are going to do with this money, and you can also tell me clearly how you will pay that money. So if you come and tell me, I'm taking 100 million, I'm going to put up a building. In this building, I already have contracts with Lucy and Alan, who will take rent, who will take office space. This is the contract documented. And once the building is complete, they will take 1 month, and then they'll be in, and I'll use that money from Lucy and Alan to pay you. I'll give you the money. But if you come and tell me, I think after I've completed, I'll start going to look if I can get, then you start getting worried. And remember what I said earlier? The moment you who is coming to borrow the money, you are not so sure about how you pay the money, high chances I will not give you the money. So it's purely a simple story around what is the purpose of the money, and is that purpose legit? Yeah? That purpose has to be legit by matters of provisions of law. Is that purpose legit? And then the source of repayment.
I think to add on his answer, I would go to what he said. They build data over time. You see, I will not walk into the bank, deposit 1 million, and expect him to be happy. He will first call me and ask me, where did you get this billion? Because my bank is not used to that. You understand? So they have built my data, they can analyze, they can see what is my potential, and that's what most of us fail to do. You fail to understand that money you receive on your M-Pesa is very, very important to go to the bank. It builds something for you. They may not ask you for your M-Pesa statement, but for him to give me any coin, he goes back to my statement. What amount of money do I trade in a day? Whether it is deposit, withdrawal, what are the transactions? And like he said, it's not about how much money I have. It's about the activities that I'm doing every day. It's about that customer who pays me and I deposit that money. It's about that habit that I have created. Actually, your statement can tell whether you are what kind of a customer you are. It actually tells very fast. When I ask him how much money can I qualify for, he'll say, let me look at your last 3 months statements. And with that, he can define and tell me you can qualify for this much. Yeah. So for we people where we start, when you say how do you qualify to get 100 million, it's easy. Work on your business, work on your records, be smart as well, because you find most of us, the young people, we get influenced by whatever others are doing. Like you said, I set up a business today, tomorrow you want to set the same. You do not know my story. You want to start being an importer, you don't know whether me I started as a hawker. So I have grown with my business. So you who want to start here in the middle, you can easily fail. Yeah, and again, we have a mindset that I must own a piece of land, I must buy this, I must buy this. We end up buying assets which are not generating anything. You own an office today, tomorrow, because now you've opened your Mombasa, instead of opening an Nakuru office, you decide now you have a lot of fruit. Let's go to Syokimau and buy a quarter acre. And you have no money to build that piece of land, but you've made your business cripple. Yeah, because tomorrow you're not selling that piece of land. Or you decide, because I'm driving a Toyota today, tomorrow I want to go and drive a Mercedes because now I'm of that class. The money you're removing to do that is actually from your business. It's your business you're crippling. You have to, personally I've learned that before I do some things, I have to understand my business. I have to know, for me to survive for the next 6 months or 4 months, what amount of money do I need to be on my cycle? What money does my business require? So that now, if I'm getting anything out of that, what is it? And how much is it? That is one thing that most of us, whenever you walk into your bank and you find you have like a million somewhere, and someone at bypass is selling a piece of land at 800, you walk in very fast and buy, and tomorrow you're telling your friends the way you bought a piece of land and you are now a land owner. Yeah? Unfortunately, when you're crying in your office thinking of where to get the money to pay the loans that you had taken, you cannot sell that piece of land. Even by the time you're selling it, probably you have depreciated even the value. But by the time you're thinking this Mercedes is the one which has costed me this much, you've made a mistake. So every day you run something new. Personally, I say every day I run. When you walk into your bankers and you ask them questions or they ask you questions, you learn a lot from them. They'll be the first people to tell you don't do this or do this or do the other. Personally, I've learned how to walk in and tell a bank manager I'm thinking of doing. Not because I need that person to tell me what to do, but his input might give me a different view. You get? Or what is in the pipeline? What am I doing right now? When I walk into that bank and maybe I had just even gone to deposit, go say hi to the manager. Let them understand you're still there. They might ask you or tell you a new product which has come. Yeah.
I think we are out of time. I would have loved it to go a bit longer, but we are out of time and we have to cut it from here. So I would like to thank you for availing yourself, Lucy, Alan and Collins, for taking this opportunity to educate our listeners and our viewers on various aspects, and I hope you might come back maybe when we're talking about another different thing, because you have experiences in various areas. So hope to see you again.
Thank you.
Thank you.